And we are being live streamed. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Angie Atkinson, and I am here with the lovely and talented Lise Colucci. Lise, welcome back.
Thank you.
My pleasure. So as we're getting started today, just so you know, keep an eye on the chat because our amazing mod squad will be in there to share some information on how to connect with us going forward. If you have comments, questions, concerns, or whatever, pop them in the chat. And we are getting there now. So we are here to talk about the withholding of intimacy by narcissists in toxic relationships. So, Lise, do you want to start us off with this?
Withholding of intimacy, it says it all, right?
Pretty much.
It could be anything. It could be anything from withholding affection to withholding physically, withholding intimately, to withholding money, to withhold in a way that is, I mean, financial withholding is what we're talking about here, but they can use
But, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of times it is on an emotional level where they are just withholding, like you feel really close to them in a moment, and then they will put up a wall and withhold giving back to you when you're giving. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I've seen, what I've seen a lot of times is, when they start off, when you first start a relationship with a narcissist, whether it's romantic or otherwise, because intimacy doesn't always mean, right? But in this case, when you start off a relationship with a narcissist, you end up with the love bombing, right? During which you are showered with love, affection, intimacy, etc., right? And then when the devalue phase starts, maybe they don't hug you back sometime, or they don't kiss you, or they don't say I love you, or they don't, they reject your advances, so to speak. And then you start to feel shameful, right? And you start to feel like, what did I do wrong? And this is where the intermittent reinforcement begins in this relationship, right, Lise? So what I think happens a lot of times is hey, everybody, is that they sort of, they prime you to be addicted, right? And I think this is one of many aspects where one of many different kinds of, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's the intermittent reinforcement. They use love, they use affection, they use money, like you said. But in this case, I think it's more painful.
It is very personal. Yeah, let me let her out. Can you see?
Yeah.
Look at in the guitar.
Okay. Oh my gosh, so cute. You guys see her dog in the guitar. Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, they
yes, they do that. They prime you. They also, it's like a dismissive, you feel dismissed, completely dismissed it's in a place where in any relationship, it doesn't have to be an intimate relationship. It can be a parent withholding, giving, nurturing, or giving of, like you call them with an issue and all you want is to be heard. And they go, what do you want me to do about it? And they absolutely won't give you the one thing that you want, which is an emotional connection.
Right. And when it's something as personal as intimacy, and here I mean the actual, are we far enough in that I can say the word yet?
Yes, word.
Yes. Okay. When that happens, I think personally that it's like you said, it's more personal. It's more, it's something that it's hard to even talk about sometimes, right? To your partner or anyone.
It is. Because they make you feel like it's you. They'll shame you for wanting it. They'll shame you for, they will name call, they'll shame, they'll say, you're too needy, you're, whatever their words are to sort of shut you down and make it like it's your fault for asking for anything.
Right. Or they'll, in some cases, especially the crueler cases, they talk about something that's wrong with you physically.
Yeah.
Not. I've heard people have been told they don't smell right. I've heard people told they're too fat, too skinny, too
anything. Yeah.
Right. And so whatever it is, that kind of stuff, I don't know about everyone else, but for me, that sort of stuff feels very, like you said, very personal, but it's different than anything else,
It
right?
is. I mean, think about it in a healthy relationship when you're just having an off day and your partner says, I don't like the way those pants fit. Like when you're feeling it's sort of like I mean, and that could be an honest thing where it's like, hey, I'm trying to stop you from going out in those like want you look if you like it, cool. If you know
I can see your black underwear through your white pants.
I can see or even worse, like you can have in a healthy relationship, we don't always feel our best without our partner building us up.
Sure.
And I think that's normal for a lot of people, both men and women. And it doesn't mean you're insecure, and it doesn't mean you're being too needy to need that sort of attention within the, not that you should have it all the time, but a little bit. But a narcissist, when they're withholding, will do the opposite.
Yes.
So they not only won't give you anything, but they might shame you or criticize you and then say, that's why I'm not giving you anything.
Right.
It's all your fault. Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah. And the other thing I've seen too is like sometimes they will want you to feel like you're an animal, or you're like, why would, you need it all the time. And this goes both ways. This is not just women to men. It's also men to women.
Oh yeah.
And or worse, calling you certain names because of your desire or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
My ex-husband withheld like a mother trucker, and it was horrible to my, like, I was so devastated. I mean, of course, what do we do when we're people pleasers? You know what I did? This is a long time ago. I went to the library. There was no major, we didn't have internet. I mean, it existed, but not like it does today.
Yeah.
This was in the late 90s. I'm old. But at that time, he would like literally actively withhold. And I thought there was something wrong with me because of course, at the beginning, it's exactly like at the beginning, it was fruitful. Mm-hmm. Is that the word? Plentiful. Right. But then it became increasingly, and then by the end, it was just, it was awful. And so I went to the library, tried to learn how to be the best lover ever. I learned a lot of really cool tricks. But they were pointless because nothing that I could do was ever going to be enough. You know? Yeah. So yeah. Any other thoughts on that before we jump into the chat, Lise?
Well, the reason that they do it is kind of, it's not because there's something wrong with you. And it's not because there's, because you're doing anything wrong, or you're not doing enough, or you're not pretty enough, or good looking enough, whatever. It's a control. It's a measure of, it's a way to gain control, to hurt you and to keep you down, so that then all they got to do is breadcrumb you a little and they own you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. And that's it. Breadcrumbing, intermittent reinforcement. It's all, and I don't know that every one of them is like, I'm going to withhold so that she or he will not. But it's some intrinsic thing with their personality.
It just works. It works because they devalue by nature. And they like to be in a state of being better than well, they don't like it. They believe they are better than others in their delusion. They believe that others, it's not about go ahead, do more and please me. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's a trick to get you to do more, to please them more, or to cross your boundaries. So if you're like, no, I only like it these 5 ways, and they're like, well, I want these 10 that are like way over here on the chart, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And you're like, but I don't want to do those things, are too much. They'll get you to do those things by withholding or else.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's not just, and it could be in emotional ways too, and in the same regard. So
true. By the way, you look amazing today. Off topic. You. You look really pretty. Yeah. hair on point, makeup on point. Okay, we're moving on. I'm sorry, I had to share that because I didn't notice earlier. I mean, I did, but I didn't. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Do you have anything else to say?
Oh, I don't care. I'm good.
Okay, thank you for tolerating my crap. Moving right along. Meemaw Dragon says, my ex-mother-in-law said I had pimples because I didn't wash right. Like her daughter who never had a pimple. Now that's a really good, that's actually,
man. It just,
Yes, awful. Glad she said ex-mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay.
I call them at that point, the mother outlaw.
Yeah, sorry, somebody's walked there. All right, let's see here. Yeah, and then we have, hey, Mystique, hey, UNA, Peggy. All right, so Zona says, I will just, Zona wants to talk about your puppies really quick. She said, I bet they're just love.
Yeah.
They're so cute.
When they're not being naughty, which I'm like watching, like, don't dig a hole.
They're just little babies.
She's like, I'm gonna dig if you're gonna leave me out here.
She's like, here I go. I'm doing it. Okay.
I'm doing it.
Sorry. Okay. Huffle Mom and Jack are dealing with COVID as well. The Omicron
here too.
one. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I hope you feel better.
Yeah, feel better.
I know Huffle Mom is feeling better, so we're getting there. Okay.
Good.
Where was I? Okay. Now I had a comment I wanted to read, and I would just I think my chat jumped on me. Okay, here we go. All right, so there we go. Wait a minute. Okay, there it was. Okay. Mima Dragon with okay. And then we have Hufflepuff, wait a minute, said something I liked. Oh, she said about, there it is. Wait, nope, lost it. Okay, we're moving on. Ellen says we both look amazing. Thank you, Ellen.
Yeah.
Mima Dragon adds, oh no, she adds the mother-in-law would pick a fight if, I'm gonna guess this is what her ex would do. Pick a fight if he had something to do, like a chore, and then say, now I'm not going to do what I said I would.
Yep. Yeah. And it's often intimate things, or now I can't give. I was told if you give me what I need, then I will take care of this, and this. And usually for me, it was more the emotional intimacy was withheld. But it was like the closeness, the connection. So it's like, you're just doing it with yourself, man, and using me. You know what I mean? Like, and then because there's no connection, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you that connection if you give me what I want. And what do you want? I want to be worshipped.
Right.
Well, that ain't going to happen. So, yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, as long as you meet all of my conditions.
Exactly. Those were the words. As long as you meet the conditions. Yeah.
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 And here's the thing. Now, I say all the time, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, there's no such thing as unconditional love for adults.
No, there's not. No.
But there is such a thing within the confines of deal breakers. What I mean is, if I'm having a bad day, you don't get to stop loving me because I'm cranky. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like you could stop loving me if I cheat on you or I hurt you physically or whatever your deal breakers are, but do not stop loving me because I'm bitching one day.
Right. That's because we have to use our, what's the word? Awareness.
Yes.
To see when it crosses the line.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Ellen says, my sociopath roommate, before I kicked her out, used to complain that I slept too much. It turns out I have a spinal fluid leak. Holy schmoly. And she told the world she took care of me when I was doing that for her. Oh, that's interesting. And that's not exactly the same thing, but not withholding, but it certainly is a horrible thing. First of all, I don't know why a roommate would care how much you slept. I think that's weird. But right. It's like, okay. But the spinal fluid leak sounds awful and painful, and I'm so sorry. And then she lied about it and said that she was, it sounds like somebody was, she was pulling one of those altruistic narcissist tricks, kind of like, I'm doing all this for her and she's doing nothing for me. Oh. Okay. Any thoughts on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. Pretty much what you're saying. That sounds.
Yeah. Oh, now this is interesting. Mima Dragon says she went to a dermatologist because of what her mother-in-law said about her pimples. And the dermatologist said, it's not anything to do with how you wash. It could be, we all know that acne can come from a number of different.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Okay. So let's see here. Oh,
it must
Jack
have been
also
validating though to have that lie exposed.
Oh, oh my gosh. Speaking of which, part of the reason that we do what we do, right, is to help people understand that it's really not. Right. Because I personally think one of the most painful things that happens in toxic relationships with narcissists, no matter what the relationship is a huge lack of, in fact, not just lack of validation, but active invalidation. Absolutely.
It's that devaluing, dismissive invalidation that tears you up.
It just, yeah. Thank you, Jack, by the way. Jack says we both look good, and so does Ellen and and Mima Dragon. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. Now I just dumped back to the bottom of my chat. Here I am. Okay. I hate when I do that. Okay, so
that's I wish they changed the way it. Anyway.
I know. Yeah. It'd be easier. Yeah. To navigate. Okay. Let's see. So then we have. Oh yeah, Mystique said she got Dana's books. Start Hearing Out of the Fog. Yeah, Dana is very talented. I hope she's coming back soon as well. But we'll I haven't heard much from her since her post in her personal group about she's going to be back. So I'm sure she will be. She's just dealing with stuff. All right, Pocket Full of Sunshine says, these lives over the last week have been so helpful. I don't know if it's because I'm right in the middle of it yet again, but I really appreciate it. Well, that is great news. And I know Lise plans to do some more lives, and we're working on going twice a week together in the near future. So hopefully that will happen soon. And I may do a week of lives myself, where we'll see. The schedule is hard.
It's all up in the air.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I would do them, but I would need to do them either. I mean, really, probably too early for our mod squad because they're in a different time zone.
Right. The timing is so weird when
it's hard.
In the country.
Yeah. But we'll see. All right. Sunshine says, how do you stop yourself from spiraling back into the guilt feeling the narcissist gives you?
Well,
that's different. Good.
I mean, number one, you've been dealing with a narcissist. So think about it for like just a second. Are they a person who tells the truth? Are they a person whose opinion is trustworthy? Are they a person who has like, when they talk about other people, are they building them up and knocking them down? Yeah, you can see it.
Right.
So why believe that? Why believe the guilt that they're feeding you? That's, I mean, that's one way. Another thing is that it is not, what do I want to say? If you have something, go ahead. I have like a million thoughts spinning.
I know. Yeah. Well, I think one thing that's really important here is to take away in your mind their power to tell you who you are.
Yes.
It's not, you know what I mean? It's not their right or responsibility. It's your own right and responsibility to define yourself. And that feels hard when you're coming from a place of being in the middle of that mess, right?
Right.
But, it took me a long time to recognize my value. I was already, it took a long time, and it hit me like a ton of bricks in one moment. And then I got really angry because I realized my whole life, because it had been happening since my parent was my first one. So I'm still mad about it, but not ongoing. But if I think about it too hard, I get a little bit pissed off, pardon my language. But I think that what it really comes down to is defining yourself. I personally never felt like a real person until that moment where I had that smack in the face realization that I was a whole person. So like, it was 35
So what I'm
years.
hearing is like if is looking at what the guilt is telling you about yourself.
Good.
And
yes.
then define yourself for yourself, looking at who you actually are versus what they told you are, because it's out of your head.
Right. Because the guilt, and maybe Sunshine, maybe you can give us a little bit more context, but as to the guilt. But, a lot of times the things, as Lise mentioned earlier, a lot of times the things they're trying to make you feel guilty about are not legit, right? Like, you're not a good parent. Well, are you a good, what are you not doing right? You know what I mean? Like,
or they get in your head, right?
Yeah.
And we got to get them out. Like, they're bullies. And
right. Yes. Their opinions are not facts.
No.
And so if you don't know what a good parent is, go online and look it up. You know what I mean? And ask yourself, am I doing these things? You know what I mean? Yeah.
And you can also look, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
You can also look at their behaviors that led to that guilt. Like, they always said this, or they always did that, and define what they were actually doing. So, that sounds like gaslighting. Is that gaslighting? Okay. So gaslighting, I know, is lies. Therefore, what I've been told are lies. I still believe them, and I got to get them out. But it's like examining the big
That's
picture.
really true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I did a video called something like, look at it like a scientist. Or actually, if you want to go after this stream, if you go look at the video, if you're subscribed on my front page, that talks about this is what narcissistic abuse does to you. It explains it in great detail. No pressure.
No pressure. Go watch it.
If you want to.
If you want.
Okay. All right. Yeah, but you're spot on with that. Okay, here's Tammy Harris. She says, I get the money thing. I get the money thing now. I never put it with intimacy before. This narc stuff is very serious. They will never get you what you want, give you what you want. And that's true. They actively give you what you don't want. So just, if you want to reverse psychology them, I'm just saying.
Done it.
Like,
yep.
Sometimes you have to.
Sometimes you have to. Sometimes it's setting hard boundaries, and sometimes it is reverse psychology. And unfortunately, if you have to deal with them.
Yes, I agree. All right. And then we have, okay, wait, Peggy. Okay. Let's see. Oh, KX says they withhold this type of intimacy. And they do. They withhold all types. I mean, if it's a parent, right, they might never, ever, ever tell you they're proud of you. They might never, ever hug you or kiss you on the cheek or whatever parents do. Or they might make you feel like an outsider in your home forever. Yeah, I can tell you, honestly, I've never felt very comfortable with my own parent because of this type of stuff. So anyway, any thoughts on that, Lise?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, covered it, right? Sweet Dreams says, thank you for discussing how emotionally disruptive the devaluation period can be. Yeah, it hurts just thinking about it, right? I can, and that's important because it hurts. I mean, like I said, I can sit here right now and still get mad about it. Like
it's so ugly and unfair and unjust, and genuinely. It's not, it's not even based on something real.
Right.
So if it's not based on something real, it must be who I am. That's what it makes you feel like. That's to me how the gaslighting, when they're devaluing, works. It's like, well, wait, that isn't what I did. So they're not actually seeing that. So it must be who I actually am.
Right.
That they are devaluing.
Right. I have a client right now who I just talked to I talked to her about this just recently. She was talking about a relative who she had previously been close with. And this relative seemed to want to be the one that was always the winner, had better clothes, had a better house, had a better whatever. Yeah. I hate that. But anyway, on top of this woman my client has now really become very empowered and kind of taken back herself. It's a beautiful thing to look at. Right. But then she recently visited with this relative again, and this relative was horrible to her, and she couldn't quite figure out why she was being like that. And then it dawned on her, she doesn't like the new me because the new me is empowered and isn't that quiet little mousy whatever, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you see that, and you see what I told my client, and what I will tell you is that what these people do is they feel, because they are so insecure themselves, they don't want you to shine. They want you to be quiet and sit in your corner and do what you've always done. And so what I see a lot of times now, withholding intimacy may or may not be related to this directly, but the abuse that we talk about, the devalue period, all of that stuff, those things are directly connected to, and therefore this is also indirectly connected to the withholding thing. But it's about they don't feel good about themselves, even though they act all tough and big and everything. They are secretly horribly insecure, and they're projecting sometimes, right? Just like when they accuse you of cheating and they're cheating, same thing, because they're doing it in that case. But if they're insecure about their body, they'll tear your body down.
Right.
I've seen a 300-pound narcissist attacking a 150-pound not narcissist about their body. Not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with either one of those weights.
No, but they're attacking for that specific thing. Yeah.
Right. They're like, you're fat and you were only 120 pounds when we met. Meanwhile, this person's 300 pounds, and sitting, pouring over. You know what I'm saying? So
and it's not, right.
It's not cool.
It's not good or bad. It's just the way they're using it.
It's the way they're doing it. Right. And so, so I totally get that.
They're making it bad. And I feel like they need someone beneath the way they feel at their basest.
Yes.
And they need to, it's like, I always felt like I had a boot on my head, like just keeping me down there.
Yes.
Just stay down.
Yes.
I'll tell you when to get up. I'll let you up a little bit, and I'll build you up in front of people, but you know where you actually belong, which is
right
with me. Yeah.
Right. When you get back home, climb back under that boot, baby, or I'll knock you down there.
You stay there while I'm building you up in front of other people, and don't actually believe what I'm saying. Because
you know what happens is that then other people are like, well, what do you mean? They were so nice to you.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Stupid. Okay. Um, yes. And they don't recognize, even though on some level you would think they would be self-aware, they aren't, and they won't be. And that's how you can often tell that they are, in fact, probably a narcissist. The lack of self-awareness or empathy, or yeah. Okay. And okay. Okay. Mima Dragon says, yeah, I sure did a lot of things by myself for 41 years, and I still am right now, but not for long. I love that. Yeah. And you know what I think? I don't mean to keep talking so much. Interrupt anytime.
Okay.
Okay. But something that strikes me with that is, a lot of people, especially people like us who have maybe been through some stuff as younger people, they end up never wanting to be alone. And this is not always the case, but some of us we'll stay until we find better. And I don't really think that's very healthy, but you see it with narcissists all the time. They will very often have one hand on this tree branch and they're trying to get to the next tree branch. And I'm saying sources of supply,
right.
And they'll have the other hand on the other branch and they'll hold on until they're sure they can swing over. And I think that's unfair to both sides. I mean, not narcissists, but the other people involved.
Right.
But I don't see codependents doing that a lot. I don't see empaths doing it a lot, but it does happen. Yeah. And I think in that case, it's about fear of abandonment.
Well, maybe. Yeah, fear of being alone, fear of abandonment. Yeah, needing the validation just to feel like you matter.
Right. Mm-hmm. And this is why it's so important for us as survivors to learn to self-validate, which is very difficult, but it does happen. Mm-hmm. If you guys want us to do a stream on that, let us know in the chat, by the way. Lise, do you have any thoughts?
Well, yeah, I spend a lot of time in group coaching talking about this. Yeah, not so much the not being able to be alone, but the ability, the ways to self-validate, and then being a person who is safe enough to receive validation from.
Right.
In the, so that's not always self. Sometimes it's self, but also looking to where someone might say, like you guys saying, you guys look nice today. To be able to receive that is like, oh, what did I do? Okay, I guess that's pretty good. Cool. And to be able, instead of going, oh, why are they saying that? And
or even saying, no, we don't. What are you talking about? No, we don't.
Oh my gosh, look at the frizz,
right.
Pointing out something bad, right? And we did, that's just a silly example, but
it's a good example.
But teaching people that to let that go and to so that's a part of self-validating too, learning how to accept it when it does come from healthy sources, as well as give it to yourself.
Yes. And I want you to talk a little bit more about group, because I know I've heard so many amazing comments and accolades, and everybody's been really impressed with what you're doing over there.
I don't know. Do people have questions about what it is, or what kind of?
Well, I think, because I heard from one of your clients that it was something that they couldn't find anywhere else. There was nothing else like it. And so talk to me.
True. Well, it's the amount of time and attention that gets poured into it, I think would be, it's pretty unique, and
especially for the price.
Yeah, right. And we've got, it's not just myself pouring in, but other group members hold each other up. And then the one-on-one coaching that you get within the group. So basically we meet and then we talk one-on-one. So there's not a lot of chatter going on, and you can really focus and listen to what's being said between two people, me and the other person, right? And that gives people like security and safety and learning and understanding that I think, I don't know, I haven't seen anything like it either. So when I've looked, but it's kind of like it was created sort of organically from doing groups for this many years now, where it sort of has developed into this.
And it's around their needs mostly.
It's around, yes, exactly. It's around specific needs for each individual person. And so basically it doesn't matter who the narcissist is, or what the relationship is to the narcissist. It's all relevant. Right.
And it works. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if anybody's interested in that, you can go to queenbeing.com/groups, or just talk directly to Lise, or what's your Coach Lise C at Gmail. .com, and it's
It's
a Lise.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. One of our mods, if you guys can put Lisa's email address in the chat, I'd appreciate you.
Yeah.
And maybe the links to the groups as well. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, here. Oh, yeah, what is happening? Okay. Here we go. Can we talk about narcissists and resentment? Crawler Baller says. Funny name. Let me say that if you're talking about resentment from them, oh my gosh, it feels like you can walk into a room with a narcissist who's acting out or behaving with resentment or showing resentment. And for me, I can feel it.
Oh yeah.
Like a weight on my chest. Can you have the same thing?
Yeah, it's vindictive.
It's horrible. Yeah. And it feels awful to be, right?
You just want to do anything you can to make it stop.
Yes, anything. And it won't, and the harder you try, the harder they hold on to it, in my experience.
Right. And they one thing a narcissist loves to do is bring back the things you did from years ago. Oh, and it's usually the most small things that they make the mountain out of the molehill with.
Oh yeah. Like, I'll never forget that day you didn't take out the trash.
Exactly. And it's like, and you never take out the trash. What do you mean? I've done it ever since. Well, you didn't on Thursday in such and such year. And and it's, they'll go on and on about it, and they'll hold it as a piece of resentment. And then if there is, so then even more so when it's like you're talking about them in a way that's like, what you do hurts me, what you're saying hurts me, and you're trying to talk about fixing the relationship, they will hold that as a resentment against you.
Right.
You're always telling me what I do wrong, or you're always attacking me, or you're, and turn it into a victim stance.
Yep. Oh my gosh, this is funny. Mima Dragon says, totally true. Lack of invalidation is the worst. And she says, I'm going around telling the dog everything that happened. That's so cute.
That's okay. That's kind of telling yourself.
They listen.
I do the same thing. I'll have the dog in the car and I'll be like, so guess what, Birdie? I'm like, you think so, huh? And she'll yeah. But I realize I'm telling me. I'm not telling her.
Of course. Right? Yeah. But I think they understand. I mean, I don't have dogs. I thought about it, but I have cats. But I've recently become very fascinated by these little huskies on Facebook Reels. They have these little the talking huskies. Have you seen them?
Yeah. They talk
addicted. They're so cute. I don't want one, but I like to watch.
Yeah. They're cute.
Right. Yeah, but I keep watching the videos. I can't help it. It's weird. Anyway, LNC says, illnesses were always used, abasing me with narcissists proving to them I wasn't enough. Oh, in reality, I took care of everything. Now that's interesting. Okay. This is another way they're devaluing you, and obviously something you cannot control. And in some cases, the illnesses are worse because of those people, or even exist, right? Because of them.
But like you hurt, so you can't do these things. Oh, in fact, my ex psychopath told people, oh no, she's really nice. Like, he didn't play the she's crazy till later, till I called him on it. But at first, oh no, she's really nice. It's just that she can't go mountain rock climbing with me. And so I can't be with her because of the rock. Like what are you even telling people? What is that?
I believe that a lot of the smear campaigns are about getting more supply.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah. Oh, it is. It's about it's also controlling the narrative, so everyone believes one thing. So they look squeaky clean.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
And then devaluing you at the same time. So it's like, ooh, win-win. Look.
And that's the sad part, because any decent person wouldn't want to be with a person who knew that they had treated you had abused you. Right. And so they have to make up another story. It can't be that. Yeah.
That made me think of something with withholding.
Tell me.
Oh, it's left. It was a good one.
I hate when that happens.
I hate that. How we dread when we're with them having a bad day, them having an illness. That's what made me think of it. Them having anything that isn't perfect in their life. Because what happens is you get emotional withholding or intimacy withholding because they're in a bad mood about the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And I mean, everyone can do that a little bit, right? We can all be like, not tonight, I have a headache, right? But this is like clockwork.
Ongoing.
Endless.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really messes with your self-esteem. Back on the point of resentment really quick. There is also the fact that we have resentment toward the narcissist.
Oh, heck yeah.
And that when we get, for me anyway, when I got to that place where I felt Lise, keep talking. I'm going to be right back.
Resentment for, what was she talking about? When we have resentment, it's similar to me to having anger, where, go ahead. Oh, she's going to be right back. Okay. She's got something going on in her household that she has to take care of. So, I can't see the chat. So we're just going to talk about resentment. When you feel resentment toward the narcissist, it can also feel like not being able to get rid of that guilt feeling, and it feels icky and horrible, and you don't want to have it, because what it does is ties you to that narcissist, especially if you're no contact and you're thinking, can't stop thinking about them because I resent them. The time they wasted, the energy they wasted, what they took from me, all the losses, all the years, right? And this is a place where healing yourself can be super important, because all that resentment is keeping you tied to that toxic person, right? And I'm talking about how, like, when you feel resentment, Angie, that it keeps you tied to the toxic person the same way anger can. And so learning to go through it while you're going through it, it happens. But then learning to not let it go. It's not letting it go. It's processing it and transforming that resentment into something else for you.
Yeah. That's really smart. Right. And I think, sorry,
That's okay.
Just so my hair's weird. Okay. Just so everybody knows, I have a repairman in my house because I've been without a furnace for a few days. So I had to go
cold.
check.
Hence the jacket, because it's cold in there.
Yes, in the Midwest. Yes.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah, but thankfully he's right now fixing it. So let's all cross our fingers. Anyway, but one thing, and you may have already addressed this, but something I wanted to add on this was and if you cover this, tell me to shut it. But when you're feeling this level of resentment, it can be hard to stick with the rules of the relationship. And a lot of times, at least for me, this was where the end of the relationship became a thing, because I could not shut my mouth anymore. I could not play the stupid games anymore. I had to go, Yeah,
you're done when you're feeling the resentment nonstop.
Right. Right. So, yeah. All right. Where were we?
No, that's good. It actually can be, just like anger, it can be the catalyst to get out.
Yes. That's what we should talk about next week. Okay.
Yeah. The catalyst to get out. Catalyst to leave.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
I'm going to write that down right now.
Please do. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Because that's a big thing. And okay. All right. Finally. Oh, hey, JJ. Question. Wait a minute. Ellen C says a lot of them in my life before, but not now. I'm so glad to hear that, Ellen. A lot of narcissists were in her life.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then they're out. And you're like, look how much time I have. So much better. Yeah.
Right. Right. Let's see. Okay. Oh, he wanted to know about Dana. Okay, we already answered that one. I hope we answered Crawler Baller's question thoroughly. I think we did. And then we have, Ellen says, it's empowering when we realize it wasn't us. And yes, I had narc parents too. Let's just do an informal poll for everyone who's here right now. How many of you had narcissist parents and then ended up in relationships with narcissists later? Please pop it in the chat if you're here live. If you're here on the replay, pop it in the comments and let us know. Okay. Zona says, thank you so much. I'll give it a try. Oh, good. She said she doesn't usually do the live. Well, we are so happy that you're here, Zona, and we look forward to seeing you again in the near future. Hey, Adrian. Let's see here. Crawler Baller says it's nonstop, subtle cues. Oh, I like subtle cues letting you know that you're not on the same level. Yes, that's that resentment. Absolutely. And that, so it's like, what's the word? It's beyond resentment. It's like
disdain.
Yeah, like disdain is, yes, that's definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's also, people say a lot, they feel resentment, they feel anger, they feel grief. This is all mixed together, and they call it one feeling and they don't have a name for it. Right. They feel grief. Right. They feel almost a hostility and disdain. And at the, that it's so much time wasted and just sad about it all.
Yes.
Somebody said, it's right here. It's right,
Right.
it's right here. That's what she kept saying.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay, let's see here. And then we have Peggy, who says, it's so weird that I don't feel angry, but I sure feel the punch in the gut punch.
Okay.
Now, I really believe that one of the stages we have to go through in our healing is anger at some point. But I know, Peggy, you're not still in the middle of what you're going through or what you went through, but anger, for me, it woke me up. It was the thing that propelled me forward. There's negative anger and there's productive anger, right? And sometimes toxic anger and productive. So toxic anger is the kind that you just let fester inside of you. You shove it down and pretend everything's fine. And then there's the kind of anger that, if I don't do something, I'm going to hurt a person, or I shouldn't say it like that. I'm going to hurt something. Something bad's going to happen if I don't. And I personally, when I feel that level of anger, and fairly recently, several months ago, I had a situation with someone in my life who made me feel that sort of anger. And I didn't even say it to that person. Instead, I said, you know what? I'm going to manage this. And I'm going to use this as a way to move forward, propel myself forward. And I did the same thing with the narcissist in my life, So it's a matter of, now I did tell the narcissist that I was angry. It was not helpful. So now I've learned a different way. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
sometimes the anger though doesn't, like, if people don't just genuinely don't feel the anger for the narcissist because they're like, but I get it. I get why they're that way. What's there to get angry at? Sometimes when we think about it, we can be angry at other things too. Not that I want people to feel angry, but it is a part of the process. And
it is
for most people, like, and if you don't feel it, don't think that you're not done healing, because maybe you're just someone who didn't have to feel this part. But sometimes the anger is at the situation, at what you went through, at the time lost, at the time wasted, at the things they took from you. It could be,
Right. Well, and I'm sorry for the noise. There is, so what you said is really important and valid. You said, that sometimes what you were describing was about the science of it. And that has been really helpful to me in my own recovery as well, was to be able to step back emotionally and look at it and go, okay, so what I'm seeing here is gaslighting. I could label things. That's projection. That's this, that's that. That took the sting out of it for me. So I wasn't so deeply personally hurt by the behaviors and the insults and whatever. And I wasn't angry at that time. That was the point at which I was kind of figuring it out. I mean, I had moments of anger, but I wasn't like deeply, just, and that, actually, this is an interesting side note. I'm sorry. I read somewhere that it was on TikTok. If you feel the need for power, you're supposed to say the name Ra, which is some Egyptian god of, whatever. Anyway, and so I think it's interesting that as humans, we tend to go Ra, anyway, probably just, but anyway, but when you have that feeling of justified anger, and it's empowering, right? I don't know if anger is even the right word. It's that feeling of, I can't believe this has been this whole time. My whole life has been, then you have to refigure it all out. But that for me, because I was a people pleaser by nature, am still in some ways, because I was afraid of confrontation, because I needed that to move away from the narcissist.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So, I have to be ready to wrap up here in a second.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Guess everyone knows now that my sister will. Sorry. Okay. Crawler Baller says, are there cases where people have these narcissistic behaviors but don't have NPD? Of course. Yeah. And sometimes they're even empaths, right?
Most people will have some traits, right? And most people will have some of the negative traits. Not most people, many people will have some of the negative traits. I always say everyone has the possibility of gaslighting.
Yeah.
We don't do it on purpose, and we don't use it to we are trying to manipulate, but then when we catch it, we go, oh, I was just trying to convince someone that what they experienced wasn't, and then we pull back and we apologize and we remedy the way we behave, right?
Yes.
but
Please.
it's the pathological use of these techniques.
Yes.
Over and
Yes.
over and over and over and over and over. And when you see that someone is using the manipulation tactics to only have concern for themselves, to only better their life, to only gain supply, even if we think that because they're arguing, it's not bettering their life. They want that. When you see someone wants the negative, they want to fight, they want to put you down.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Well, and here's the other side of it too. Okay. The other side of it is watch them for empathy or lack thereof. There can be said, there's 3 types of empathy. There's cognitive, there's compassionate, and emotional, right? So compassionate empathy, that's the kind that most of us people pleasers tend to have, along with emotional and cognitive. But we tend to be strong on the compassionate empathy when we're healthy, where we are moved to take action to help that person. Right.
Or move to take action to change our behaviors that we see aren't being healthy at that moment. Right.
Well, within this context.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But of course, it could also be that we see them sitting on the side of the street starving and we're moved to give them food.
Right.
Any type of,
It's all,
Right. Where the emotional empathy would just make us cry for them, feel sad for them, but not do anything. And then and the cognitive
unless you're talking about an altruistic narcissist who will absolutely feed the person on the street as long as people are looking, or they can talk about it.
Right. And that comes from cognitive empathy. We can look at them and see that they're skinny and they're sitting on the side of the street and they look hungry. We can know, okay, that person's probably hungry. And then as a narcissist, they might go, that person's probably hungry and I can feed them. And then I can tell everybody that I did that and make so much get so much attention and love and whatever. Right.
Or it boosts their beliefs about themselves, where they don't actually have to tell anyone, but it's like a pet project.
Right. Yes. And they will tell someone.
They always
will. They will. They don't do anything unless
they may save it up and use it later, but they'll tell someone.
They will. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Oh, here you go. This is an interesting point that Ellen makes, and this is right on point with what we're talking about. So let's cover this one, and then we'll decide from, so Ellen says they withhold intimacy, but expect you to never do the same.
Oh, yeah.
Ding, ding. Yes. Yep. And that, speak on it, baby. What you got to say?
Just that. Yeah. I mean, that sums it up. They absolutely do that. Nothing with them is ever equitable or fair or reasonable. It's all,
And even if you point it out to them, like, look, I wanted this the other day and you said no, and now you want that, and you're saying that if I, you're pushing whatever, they will turn you inside out with insults and word salad. And
I can remember saying something like, and I say things very fairly to people, I try, where it was like, hey, so you see how I just did that, even though we're in a fight, I did this, and I'm trying really hard to show you that you matter here, and I'm trying to consider you. That's all I'm asking for in return, a little bit of that.
Right.
That's a pretty fair. I mean, that's not accusatory. It's as toned down as you can.
Right.
And still, it's twisted into, oh, are you sitting there keeping score? Are you doing?
Yes.
Are you? Yeah. So they tear you up.
No doubt about it. Yes. Wait a minute. Ooh, hold on. Okay. So. Okay. I'm going to. I see all these. Okay. So guys, a couple things. We're getting ready to wrap up because I've got a client call shortly. But Lise, what is next for you? Let me ask you really quick. Do you have more to say?
Are there a bunch of questions? Okay, so let me ask, because if there's a bunch of questions that people want to talk, I can go on live over on my channel.
Okay, so I'm at the bottom of the chat now. Yes, people say yes. Okay.
You want to go over? Okay, so we're going to do a Q&A. I'm going to keep it short if there's not a lot of Q's, because there won't be a lot of A's.
So let's stay with me, Lise. Keep talking.
So head on over to my channel in about a minute or so here, as soon as we're done, and I will just start a live Q&A.
Yes, and I'm going to put your...
Where it goes.
Yes.
I don't have a whole lot more to talk about otherwise. I could find something. But.
Okay, so let me ask again really quick, double check before we if we are about to, I'm going to put the link in the chat for everybody. to Lisa's channel. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
So right now, if you guys want to keep talking, tell me now in the chat. Yes, please. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay.
Fine. Yeah. If there's only one, we'll chat for a minute and we'll go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got, let's see here. Yes, I've got, yes, I've got, okay.
And we don't have to stay on topic, just your Q&As.
Yeah. All right. So if anybody is, I'm going to put Lisa's, here it comes right now in the chat. I'm putting Lisa's, we need to change your, we need to change your channel name.
It's very long, your URL. Isn't it? I don't
Well, no, on your URL, it says Life Makeover TV still.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
We'll fix it. We'll fix it.
Let's put that in a note.
Yeah, put that in a note. Yes. Okay. So everybody, yes. Everybody says yes. Great. Okay, guys, click that link. Go over to Lisa's channel here on this, or just search Lise Colucci. I'll put that in the chat for everybody in case they want to see how to spell that. There we go. And you guys go over and talk to Lisa. I'm going to go talk to my client, and we will see you guys next week over here. And Lisa, see you in like 2 minutes over there.
Yeah.
Right, thanks,
Bye.
Lisa.
Have a good day.
All right,
bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Oh.
I'm hitting it. Zoom. End it.
I'm trying to do it, and I can't because it's not my Zoom.
it keeps. So this is hilarious because everybody's hearing this. Hi, guys.
Hi. This is the blooper reel.